Is this fucking thing on YouTube? I cannot fucking find the YouTube link to this fucking thing. Come on now.
My meditation tells me it's in my head, but then you're going again with all the copy These days, trying to win the crowd like a sweepstakes. I've been a pre-K, I don't need a replay. Running around like a chicken with my head cut off. And tell me what you need. Eyes on me. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. Tell me what you like. Can't sleep. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. Eyes on me. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. And I can't sleep. So tell me what you want. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. Eyes on me. Eyes on me. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. Tell me what you need. Can't sleep. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you want. Eyes on me. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. Tell me what you like. Can't sleep. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need.
Oh, that's loud. Sorry, fellas. Hang on. All right. Maybe that's better for you. I don't know why that was coming through that speaker. Why are my headphones not working? Who the fuck knows? Welcome, everybody, to the show. Good to see everybody. This is Let's Read. We're going to be reading Gamepro from August 2000. That was their E3 issue. We got Dan Amrich, but I don't know Danny the Dan. I don't know which character you were at GamePro. I know you worked for GamePro. You should call in. Be good to talk to you about this issue. But yeah, man, this is this is what we do in this show. We go through old video game magazines, walk down digital memory lane, and go and say things like, "Hey, that was better then." So we're going to get into that in just a second. It's good to see you guys in the chat. I appreciate it. Bull says, where you been? I've been around. I just put up like a 2-hour stream last night. I've been making content, baby. That's what I'm doing. I got a new Gabbin' and Games I'm working on. I like doing the Gabbin' and Games not live. I'm starting to vibe with that more. So I'll be doing a couple live shows a week, whether it's one of these or it's just a free chat or what have you, but I'm enjoying the Gabbin' and Games where I can be more focused and really concentrate on trying to communicate what's in my brain pan. So it's good to see you guys. Jaffe looks like a Mexican gangster with the hair slicked back, says somebody. I can't read. Star Killer. Do I? Well, it's not really slicked back. I just have to shave it again because I'm bald, basically. Look at that. Come on now. I remember the first time I did, or I noticed I was going bald, and I was actually in a GameStop, and they have that camera, and if you're waiting in line, I was like second in line, and I looked up and I saw this person, and I didn't realize it was me because when I looked up, I could see my bald spot, and I'm like, well, there's no goddamn way that I'm that fucking bald, but is true. It's true. So no, I like shaving this. I've just been busy. There's one of our God of Wars in the chat. Zack, he procrastinates. Good to see you, buddy. Thank you. This was the background he says, I love your background. This is the background we used for the Twisted Metal RPG tabletop game that we played last weekend. And it was pretty fucking good, man. I enjoyed it. I'm getting into tabletop gaming really for the first time in my life. I've played about 4 of them. And I dig it so much, man. And there are just so many cool pieces of tech and software coming out. Wizards of the Coast has one. Their virtual tabletop. There's one I discovered, I forget what it's called, that's even cooler than Roll20, which I've been playing with, but Roll20 just integrated into Discord, so it's very cool. It's very neat. I dig it. I dig it a lot. There's another God of War. Eddie T says, if Kamala Harris asked to be on the stream to help get her the gamer vote, would you let her? Yeah, man, we don't have to talk politics, but I'll tell you something. I'm voting for Kamala, and I mentioned that in the chat today or in the Twitter today. People got all like, nying, nying. It's like, shut up. Shut up. I'm voting for her. People like, well, what policies do you like? What policies do I like? I like the policy that she's not Donald Trump. Do I need to say anything more? That's pretty much it. I mean, I do like her as a person. She's a charismatic individual, but I don't know if that means much of anything. Yeah, no, vote for who you want. I don't care who you're voting for. Okay, you're voting for Kamala, says Jojo D. I'm not American, though. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Why is my chat so right-wing, says Jezebelly. I don't know. I'm not right-wing. That's all that fucking matters. I'm not saying that's bad if you're right-wing. I'm just saying that I let people come. They can express whatever the fuck they want to express as long as it's not hate speech. And maybe they're like going, wow, we're usually only allowed to speak at the Klan rally. At least Jaffe lets us come on in here and talk about what we want as long as we're not mean to people. So it could be that. Hello, Novadamas. Good to see you, buddy. I'm voting for you right back. I'm voting for you right back. Ric Flair. You want me to vote for Ric Flair? I'll vote for Becky Lynch. You guys see Becky Lynch today? Posted something on Instagram. She's a wrestler, if you don't know. And she said it was like a retirement kind of statement. Not entirely sure what the fuck that's going on about. I hope she doesn't go anywhere. I like Becky Lynch quite a bit, man. Quite a bit. All right. Let us begin. But yeah, good to see you, Eddie T. Good to see you, Zachariah. Jess Belly says, Jaffe, I love these reads. It takes me back to my childhood. You know what's interesting, real quick before we get started? I put out a poll today, and I says, do you guys want to do GamePro from 2000, which is now, 24 years ago. Most people that watch this show are probably 36 is the average age, so they were kids. And then I put out another one, or do you want to do this EGM from summer of 93? Which would really mean they were really fucking young then. So you might be surprised or not to learn that the majority easily decided that they want to read this issue, which we will look at right now. Here we go. This is, and again, I'll take your comments. I'll take your chats. Let's go full screen on this thing. And let's see, hang on. This is the issue we're going to be going through today. We can stay focused on it or we can move around. I've already read it. So, I have opinions, of course. Yeah, I remember that, Star Killer. He says, I remember Sean Baby reviewing crappy games. Yeah, Sean Baby at the back of EGM would review terrible, crappy games. I totally remember that. It was great. EGMs were the best, says Movie Maniac. I liked those. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I picked GamePro because last time we did PSM and before that we did EGM. And I know there's a lot of love people have for GamePro. I always felt GamePro was a little kiddie. Like it just, by the time these magazines were out, I was already like in college and shit, when they started. And I was just kind of like, I was looking for something a little bit more advanced than GamePro, but it was good for what it was. And a lot of people have a lot of love for it. And then, yeah, Game Informer shut down yesterday. I have the very last issue. I was subscribing to the paper magazine. I loved that tons. I was a big fan of the paper magazine. I liked getting that in my mail, and they shut down, which sucks. And they were owned by GameStop. So does anybody expect them to have been treated well? Probably not. It wasn't the cartoony faces, Mutant Mo, and the review scores that made me think GamePro was kind of kiddie. I mean, Diehard Game Fan had that as well. In fact, I liked that so much. I thought they did the best review structure out of pretty much all of them. I think GamePro was number one because, honestly, they had fun factor, which is the most important thing. I didn't give a shit about anything else. And when all those other factors marbled into the overall score, I'm like, what are you doing? I don't give a fuck if the sound quality, some aficionado on the goddamn review crew is a big sound nerd. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, it's a 3 out of 5 because you see it's not properly modulated for THX if you're playing it in Australia because the cone on the speaker rotates a different way. I don't care. I care about if it's fucking fun. And I love that GamePro called that out. EGM was the next one that I loved that was just 3 different people reviewing the same fucking thing, which was pretty good. 2D Realms, hello, buddy, says, Papa Jaffe, did you know many of these game editors are now devs in the industry? Yeah, absolutely. I didn't know the EGM guys, Crave director, Insomniac, Brian Intar, who did Spidey and Ratchet. I did know we actually had... I'm going to miss his name. Is it Frost? Steven? We had one of the PSM guys call in last time when we did this. And it was cool because he is now at one of my favorite companies, Digital Eclipse, as the head of production. But back then, he was one of the editors for PSM. So audio was key to a game like Dead Space, says Eric. Good. Don't care. Point is, get that shit out of my fucking stew. I just want to know if it's fun. That's all I care about. Sergeant Frosty, I don't agree with that. I'm not saying you're right or wrong. I think it depends on the game. He says, Frosty in the chat says, nobody should be playing games for the storyline. Games are meant to be fun. No, I mean, games are art. They're an art form. That's like saying every book is meant to be, a book of knock-knock jokes. It depends on what the author's intent is, doesn't it? But certainly, I think... I don't go to games for story. If there's a great story that adds, if it's a certain genre of game, but I go to games for gameplay, man. I gotta tell you something. Well, yeah. Mutemo says, why not both? Sure. If depending on the game, you're right. See, I totally disagree with you. Super Gion. He says presentation, sound, visuals, fun factor. Those are key. I assume you're saying fun factor comes last, which I don't agree with that. But, I mean, your mileage will vary. Jaffe, are you against Mortal Kombat 1 animality? What's there to be against? No. I mean, they're always goofy and fun. I don't care. Unless there's something about it I don't know, like PETA is getting all upset because every time you do an animality, they kill a real puppy or something. I don't know. Yes, Jojo D, I'll be playing Volgar the Viking probably tomorrow or whenever they drop it. I was... kind of hoping I'd get a code so I could play it early. But that said, though, I'm a big fan of the first one. I was tweeting with the developer, and he said he did something extra special that I should. He said something kind of cryptic, like you'll see something I did in there for the game being too hard for you or something. I don't know what he meant, so I'm looking forward to it. But that's coming out tomorrow. It's gotten pretty good reviews, and I'm excited. Do you know what I did today, real quick? We'll get to the magazine in just a second. I went to the PlayStation summer sale and it's running for about 10 more days. And let me just first say that the deals over there are staggeringly good. There are games that are like, you can get the first BioShock for under $2, right? You can get some great games for under $5. Like, I mean, not like, well, here's, you can get Resident Evil Village for under $5, which is insane, right? Hang on one second. But what I did was really interesting. Hang on. That was really interesting. I went to ChatGPT, and I said, I want you to look at all the games that are under $2. And I want you to then go out and get the Metacritic. I was stunned by this. And I said, go out and get the Metacritic. And she went out, it's a she for me in my head. And she went out and she got the Metacritics of all the games that were under $2 on the sale. And then I said, okay, rank me those. And a lot of them, like the top 5 or 6 were big games that I already had, like Tomb Raider and this, that, and the other. But then I said, okay, now I want you to rank them based on what you know about me, because over time, ChatGPT will build a profile of your likes and dislikes. And I've only gotten a chance to play one, but she recommended one. She recommended 5, and I bought all 5, and I'm making a video out of it. So I'll show it to you guys next week or whenever it's done. But I was so amazed that the first one she recommended I got, which I think was called like something like Rain. It's like a one-word title, like Rain, or it's like it's a shooter explorer kind of fucking thing. And it was really good. I'm like, what the fuck? The fuck is this? What the fuck is happening that she can read me well enough to know the kind of video games I'd like? And then I asked her, I said, well, what is it about? What do you think you know about me that would define me that you would recommend these specific games? And she fucking told me. She's like, you like unique game mechanics. You like it when it's embedded in story, especially if the story's told through the gameplay. I'm like, how the fuck do you know these things? So I was, it's been really cool so far. It's been really fucking cool. All right. Let's go back in time, my friends. Let's go to, this is the E3 issue. The E3 issues were always, one moment, please. The E3 issues were always delights when you worked in the industry, because especially if you had a game out that year, because it really was the first time you could get any sense of did they like it? Like, you know, you could talk to your PR people and they would tell you, but you never really trusted the PR people. Not because they were liars or anything, because they're not going to tell the team. Even if GamePro walked away and hated Twisted Metal Black, what were they going to say? Going to depress the team for the next, 4 months before the reviews drop or whatever, because there was a long lead time, 3 months, whatever. So this was the ability to kind of get some honest response to your games from the show floor once the show had ended and all the hype had died down and people had a chance to go home and really think about what they had played. So I was always excited to get the E3 issues, not just because I wanted to see what they thought and what the world was responding to with the other games, but because I wanted to know what they thought of our games, man. So these issues are pretty special to me. And obviously this one actually, E3, Twisted Metal Black was at E3. E3 was in June of that year and Twisted Metal came out in June of that year. I believe, I thought Twisted Metal was a 2001 game. But this, I think it's, this must be 2001 November, I guess is what this is. So there's a review of Twisted Metal Black in here, but Black was at that E3. I have pictures of it. They built the whole Blackfield Asylum on the show floor. They had, what was the name of the truck with the tow truck, that flung the taxi cab? I forgot his name already. Whatever his name is. They had built that was there. They had a giant, whatever that truck was, busting through a wall. It's the first time I saw a celebrity playing a game I worked on. Elijah Wood was there, and he was playing Twisted Metal, and I was like, that's so cool. I know that guy. He's famous. This is before The Hobbit came out, but whatever, Lord of the Rings. Which is weird because about 10 years later, his brother, who's a video game producer, now heads up the Blumhouse horror video game division, ended up producing Twisted Metal 2012 with me. So it was kind of interesting. But anyway, we're going to dive into that. I will let you know, Bull Bowl, real quick. I can get you details later, but he says, do you recommend Baldur's Gate 3 or Dragon's Dogma 2? As tough, man, because Baldur's Gate 3 is much more of a classic RPG in terms of, rolling and stats, and there's a lot more branching, and it feels more like you're playing a tabletop RPG. And so if you're in the headspace for that, Baldur's Gate 3 leaps and bounds is better than Dragon's Dogma 2. Dragon's Dogma 2, though, is a much more immersive experience. So if you're looking for more like, I want to feel like I'm going on an adventure and these characters are with me and we can jump on, dragons and shit and ride them around and fight them while they're trying to knock us off, Dragon's Dogma 2, hands down. If you want more of a narrative and a sense that your choices matter and you can really tinker with your characters and really kind of get to know and fall in love with your how you've tweak these characters, then I would say Baldur's Gate 3 would be your best choice. They're both great. I enjoyed them both very, very much, but they really are, they hit very different as they say. GamePro issue 155. Here we go. Now, first I want to explain something to you. This is the ad. The first ad we're looking at right now is for a peripheral group called Interact. And I just have to assume, I know I was there, but today's gamers don't understand how the Game Boy ecosystem survived. And we were willing to put up with the fucking horrible screens. I will never fucking know. But these fucking things were massive successes. You guys know that. But, I mean, to play the goddamn Game Boy, the first one, you had to fucking angle it just right so the light by your bed hit it, or the fucking, when you're driving in a car, you're riding in a car. I mean, it's ridiculous. You could barely fucking see. You could barely fucking see the goddamn thing. And then the Game Boy Color came out, which was a little better, but almost as bad. And then they've got the Game Boy Advanced, which I think this is the Advanced, right? Yeah. And they're still needing to sell lights and shit with it. Like if you look, like this was one that you plugged into a part next to the cartridge, and it was like a little light that you had to angle down on it. What in the fuck? Nintendo was like, well, you idiots will buy this shit. Fuck you. And I get it, because the battery life and all that shit. Like, Soup in the chat says, well, it's because nothing else could compare. I mean, I had a Nomad, which was a Genesis, a portable Genesis, and the batteries ran out in probably 2 hours on that fucking thing. And it wasn't rechargeable. You had to fucking go buy more batteries at the goddamn grocery store. But at least you could fucking see it. I have no idea how gamers were ever okay with the Game Boy. It's utter horseshit, but there you go. It's because that's what we had in the 90s, Jaffe says, Prince Green. It was way better than the Tiger handhelds. Well, sure, that's true. And I will also tell you that we had a Twisted Metal Tiger handheld game, which was abysmally stupid. Do you know what they say the most offensive game of all time is? Is a handheld game, certainly not from Tiger, but it looks just like a Tiger handheld, but it's based on 9/11. And you're trying to fly planes into the what are they called? The Twin Towers. That's a real fucking game. You can't get it in America. I mean, you could. It's not illegal, but no one's going to sell it here. So, okay. And that's, I never understood the handheld market, and I still don't really understand the handheld market. But because I remember seeing the fucking PSP compared to the DS, and I thought it was fucking over. I was like, are you kidding me? The DS is fucking dead in the water. Have you seen the PSP? It's like having a PlayStation in your hands. Nobody bought it. Nobody showed up for it. I mean, not in a meaningful number. The DS just fucking decimated the market. Crazy. Even to this day, I don't want to fucking, I don't want a Steam Deck. I don't want a handheld. I just don't have any interest in them. But I don't do a lot of commuting, so maybe that's why. All right. We saw this ad last time. This was the time Sony was doing the wacky ads. Spyro Year of the Dragon, Spyro 3. You got some dead chickens there on the road. What are you going to do? Oh my God, this is a JFK Jr. reference. RFK Jr. Well, he killed a bear. Doesn't matter. Jaffe, please play Plumbers Don't Wear Ties on stream. I might. I know Jojo D's been wanting us to play some F&B games, and it's something I definitely do want to do. I just haven't had a chance to. Mutant Mo wants a Steam Deck, and Wayne says it's awesome, the Steam Deck. No, I hear they're great. I hear they're fucking great. I just, I don't want to deal with all that nonsense. Let me show you something real quick. I want to show you the Twisted Metal handheld real quick, since we're talking about it. Hang on. Where the fuck's my? Oh, this screen. Sometimes, Jaffe, I'll tell you. Why don't you just shut up and give me the screen? I'm trying. You guys know I've been watching the goddamn Cape Crusader game, dude. That thing's not the game, the show, the goddamn show on the Amazon. This is what we were listening to Lawrence What You Want at the beginning, but I know you guys are too cool for that because it actually had melody. Twisted Metal Tiger handheld. I don't know how much this is worth now, but there it is. Brian, you can get it used for $60, $30, but it was terrible. I mean, it was just this. It was basically like, what's that game now? It's actually not new. It's been out for 10 years now. The Subway Surfers. It's pretty much Subway Surfers, where you kind of went back and forth. You were Sweet Tooth going through the suburbs. You had like 3 lanes, and then you could like fire or something. That's pretty much what it was. They did the best they could with the tech they had, but I guess somebody was playing it and digging it. I don't know what to tell you. All right, here we go. Back to the magazine, babies. Come on now. Yeah, Eddie T, come on. And by the way, there was also one for Warhawk. There was one for Warhawk. There was one for Twisted Metal. There may have been one also for ESPN Extreme Racing or whatever it was called, but I don't remember if that's absolutely accurate or not. Sergeant Frosty says no good car combat games anymore. I don't know, man. That you sound like a guy who hasn't played much of the new season of Fortnite. The new season of Fortnite is the exact Twisted Metal fantasy. I mean, that's not true. The cars are pretty much the same. You can put different things on them, but you have in-car battle, out-of-car battle, on foot versus car, knock people out of their cars, chasing through a huge open world. It's pretty good, man. Oh, sweet. Dan, you work at Digital Eclipse now? What the fuck is everybody over at Digital Eclipse? Why don't I work at Digital Eclipse? What the fuck, Dan? Jesus Christ. You sent me a code for Volgar. All's forgiven. Dan sent me a Volgar 2 code. Now I like him again. I was mad for a moment. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Can I play it? If I play it and stream it tonight, can I do that? Okay. That's excellent. Come on over. Yeah, man. I'm excited. I didn't know that. That's great, man. You've never played Fortnite. No, go play Fortnite, man. It's good. The car combat's good in that. I mean, it's different, but okay. All right. Jaffe, hey, Cantankers. He says, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Good. Thank you, sir. Are we going to see an end to this layoff turmoil in games? No, I don't think so. I saw somebody post something the other day on Twitter. It may have been like a name that you'd be like, dude, that was this guy. I don't remember. But he said, I think we actually are seeing a video game crash, but it's just really slow. And like it's a car crash going in very, very slow motion. And I think there's truth to that. I think there's a great deal of truth to that. I think it's just, games are getting in some ways easier to make, and they're also getting more expensive to make depending on the kind of game you're talking about. And I think this correction is not just because of the pandemic. It's not just because of overhiring. It's because the fundamental philosophy of what a gamer is, what your customer is, what they want, that has been fractured, in my opinion, drastically. Not just because of certain gamers like this and that, but it's a generational fractioning. It's a generational explosion where the pieces shatter everywhere, which is probably the same thing as a fracturing, but I wanted to have an option. Okay. But I think we'll see an end to it in the sense that, but it won't be an end like suddenly everything will go back to normal. I think the days of normal in video games, we're going to see a totally different industry, not technologically, but what it means to work in games and make games. We already are, but that's just going to continue for a while until it becomes whatever the norm becomes, is what I would say. Okay. Ricky Carmichael, whatever. I don't know. There was only one. I love motocross. I love dune buggy racing and all that shit and dirt racing. But there was a game called Moto Racer that I think EA published, and it was the only real motocross game that I ever felt had amazing physics. But I mean, this was a series. People like this, so maybe it was pretty fucking good. All right, here we go. Listen to this. GamePro Active back in the day, they gave a shit about you, unlike the sons of bitches now over at Kotaku. Am I right, boys? Ha ha! GamePro Active says, prevent violence in your school. Listen, kids, for over 100 years, KidsPeace has been dedicated to serving youths the confidence they need, giving youths the confidence they need through programs about prevention, intervention, and treatment to help them overcome personal crises in the home, school, community. Yeah, it sounds like it worked great. Among the many services KidsPeace sponsors is teenscentral.net, a website for teens by teens, where you just had a bunch of dick pics on it, where people can find resources to help them deal with life issues. Find out more at kidspeace.org. Well, now you know we're going there before we continue. I'm sorry, boys, but we got to see if that's still in business. Okay, we're going there. You know we're going there. What are they called again? Come back now. Come back to the five and dime, Jimmy Dean. Come on now. That's a deep cut for old people. Damn it, Jaffe, get this fucking thing off the screen. Dude, I'm trying, but it doesn't give me a little thing to grab. Okay, let's see. Let's go up here and let's look up. what is this called? Kids. All right. KidsPeace.org. Here we go. What kind of bullshit Reagan just say no crap is this? KidsPeace.org. You guys even still in business, you losers? Yeah. Can't. Oh, okay. Whatever. Fuck off. What do they do? All right. Maybe you're good. What about this other one, though? What about Teen Central? I hope there's no porn. TeenCentral.net sounds like a porn site at this point. Do I want to see it? I don't know. Okay. All right. It's okay to ask for help. You're not alone. Whatever. Shut up, dumb teens. All right. I told I guess she's my niece. I mean, she's the daughter of my nephew. So is that my niece? She's something to me. She's a great kid. I like her a lot. Smart kid, independent, feisty. I'm talking to her today with my sister, her grandma. And I says, you need to do drugs. Make sure you do some dope when you're in high school, because she's starting high school next week. And I meant it too. I was like, look, I don't want you to become addicted or a doped out dope fiend and all that shit or anything like that. But, I should have experimented with a little bit of the marijuana back in the day. It would have opened up my third eye and my brown eye. Ha ha! I can't stop moving my body like this is it's schizophrenia. Maybe. And I says, that'll open up your mind, baby. I don't think my sister was too happy about it, but it's true. It's totally true. Castlevania Circle of the Moon. Game Boy Advance. Okay. Look at these idiots. Remember when 2K had World Series Baseball. I never played it. I don't know if it was good or not. I couldn't tell you. Okay, Dan was Dan Electro in Bad Hair. Okay, yeah, I never knew who these people were. That's cool. All right. Let's get into the actual the magazine, shall we? Fuck you, Zeke. It's great advice. You know what's weird, though? You live long enough, you don't become the villain. You live long enough and you see games that you grew up with and you were even an adult with be called classic. When I first saw this, I'm like, oh, this was the first Chrono Trigger. It's like, nope. It says Square is putting out already a remaster. 2 complete classic adventures in one package. Available for the first time on PlayStation game console. Chrono Trigger. I have not tried to play Chrono Trigger in a long, long time. And let me tell you something real quick. Well, wait a minute. So Zeke says that it's bad advice as a guy who's used many drugs. I didn't tell her she should do a lot of drugs. I didn't tell her she should do anything like, cocaine or anything like that. I says to her, pot, right? Just have an awareness when you're young enough that the world is not what you think it is only, and we only see things through the filter that we're born with, and there's value in just recognizing there's other ways to view the world. That was it. Just a little dope advice from the great uncle. Nothing wrong with that. Chrono Trigger. I don't know if it holds up. I'm sure it does, but I remember loving it when I played it. And let me tell you something. It was the first RPG, believe it or not, that I had ever really played almost to the end. And this is what I didn't know. And I still think games have this problem today. Is that there is the shorthand that a lot of these games try to get you to care about when it's like, these could be new players. Let's tell them that, if you want to walk forward, push the stick. It's like, dude, nobody who's bought a game from you doesn't understand you don't need to train them in that. Maybe give them an option, but no, it's the philosophical aspects, right? So I'm playing Chrono Trigger, the original. I get to the final boss and I absolutely cannot beat it. And I go in, I guess I'm at work. I guess I was working at Sony at the time. And somebody said to me, it might've been Mike Yam or Jose Cruz, we were testers at the time, said to me, well, have you leveled up your character? And I'm just like, I don't know. What do you mean? Right? Chrono Trigger just assumed that I knew that just getting to the end boss wasn't the goal, like every other game I had played. You can get to the end boss, and then it's like, well, you're not strong enough, so you got to go grind your character. I'm like, what are you talking about? Right? Like, I did not have any clue that that's how these games worked at the time. And, there's a number of games, even to this day, where it's like, why? But, inventory is another great example. It's like, after you've been sort of just beaten down by Resident Evil 1 and 2, the originals, with their resource management, you get, shell-shocked. And you never, ever want to spend shit anymore. So you just hoard everything and you save everything. The game needs to make it clear what it wants you to do. I'm a little confused here. So Amy Hennig worked on Soul Reaver 1, because this is the same issue where I saw them doing a preview of Jak and Daxter. Did she not come on to Jak and Daxter until the second one? And so she went from Soul Reaver 1 to Jak and left Soul Reaver 2 for someone else? Is that what happened? All right, Dan, good to see you, buddy. And thank you for Volgar. I really do appreciate it, man. Thanks, buddy. Be well. Have a safe train ride. Soul Reaver was my series, says Prince Green. I can't wait for the new game. Are they making a new game? I heard they were, but then I heard Embracer kind of said, no, thank you. They recently made a new comic book of it. I just hate that it took so long to make a sequel. Okay. Dennis Dyack Golf Franchise did the first game, Blood Omen, but I don't think he did Soul Reaver, did he? I love Jak and Daxter, says Mutant Mo. It was a fun rental for me early in the PS2 life cycle. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Listen to this. There's some good letters this month. This is crazy. I'll read you this one first because it never seems to end. It never seems... I get that, Darth Nugget. It never seems to end, my friends. The sort of anti-woke mob. It was happening back in the day. Come on now. I want to move. Why is it not moving? I want to be over here. Oh my God. Give me the selection. Where the fuck is it? Hang on. There's like a little hand you can use to move around. It's a terrible interface. Look at me complaining, reading my free magazine that I had somebody scanned. Editor letter. Here we go. Listen to this. The big three at E3. I'm just going to read you this one because this is so crazy. Well, no, I'll read you this one first. Cram the sugar and spice, you sexist pig. This is coming from a young lady named Rochelle in Kalamazoo, Missouri. Dear GamePro, my name is Rochelle, and I've been playing video games since I was 5 when Duck Hunt was the first, quote, in thing. Well, I'm 15 now. I'm starting to get the crap from guys saying things like, girl gamers stink, or you're lying, girls don't like all fighting, the fighting games. Well, this makes me angry. I wasn't a little girl playing with dolls, bitch. Instead, I played with dinosaurs. The reason I'm writing to you is I think you should put in an article in your magazine called Revenge the Girl Gamers. I mean, come on. You're always putting Aya Bray, Laura Croft, and Vicky, I don't know who Vicky is, on every page because you know that's what the guys want to stare at. Yeah, the girls are hot and kick butt, but you have to keep in mind they're just characters and they're not real. Even though I know some of you guys in these circles wish the chicks were. So you guys really need to give us girl gamers a break. We enjoy the same games as you. Now listen to this. This is what GamePro writes back. Dereliction of duty, I'd say. It's stunning, they say, to think this age-old battle of the sexes is still being waged. Anybody who doubts the prowess of females at action games need look no further than Cornelia. Who? GameSpy's quake player for hire, who regularly dominates tournaments as well as exhibition matches at trade shows. Any guy who thinks girl gamers stink should seek her out and be humbled. And remember, there are plenty more where she came from. I mean, I'm just letting you know, this shit never went anywhere. It's always been there. A lot of men are idiots. I'm tired of it. I am. I'm just so fucking tired of it. Why are men so fucking insecure? Leave people alone. If I knew a girl in middle school when I was 15 who played video games, I'd be doing everything in my power to make sure she liked me. Idiots. Prince Green says, Jaffe, this is a great segment because you are a developer from that era. Thank you, Prince Green. I appreciate it, baby. Oh, here comes the virtue signaling. Fuck you, Bukkake Drive-By. What I'm telling you is men are a bunch of insecure babies. I've noticed that over the years. It drives me batshit. Who are the fathers of these people? Listen to this. The big three at E3. I'm going to stop watching Jaffe now. He's too woke for me. Swipe. Who's next? Where's... Oh, no, it's Alex. He knows what's up. Idiot. Fuck you, Bukaki. Okay. All right. GamePro. It is on, says the GamePros. The video game wars begin in November. Listen to this now. Nintendo, Microsoft, even Sony revealed almost all to 62,000 gawking game industry types at E3 this year. Thanks to the Nintendo strategy of locking down GameCube info until showtime, the oohs and ahs as Dynamite first-party games, and you'll see they were amazing, were unveiled was loud enough to drown out the question. Where are the third-party games? Miyamoto himself let on that he may unveil a new Mario game on the GameCube this summer, which I assume was, what was the one, Sunshine? So Nintendo even managed to turn eyes and divert third-party related queries towards its Space World show in Tokyo. The GameCube will be out November 5th. Meanwhile, Microsoft has been refreshingly open about its Xbox and Xbox games. The first lineup of games don't look great, but next year is going to be their... That's not what they said. Microsoft's game lineup is looking deep and exceptional. The Xbox launches November 8th. Sony, to its credit, then it goes into all this shit Sony had at the show, which was a bunch of shit like AOL and email on your on your Xbox, on your goddamn PlayStation 2, and it was like, what? This was the E3 where I thought we were fucked because the Dreamcast booth was so fucking amazing. Just insane. Okay. But this is, you know, people were wondering. You had the GameCube about to launch, which we know what happened. We had the Xbox about to launch, which, you know, we know what happened, and the PS2 was already out there. And, you know, ruled the roost, baby. I remember when that game, what was that military game that came out for the Xbox exclusive that was like a real simulation-y kind of thing? It wasn't America's Army, but it was like something like that. And all the reviews were like just losing their shit over it. And I was like, oh, we're fucked. We're fucked. I was always terrified I'd lose my job and never have a chance to make the games I wanted to make. Okay. The Dreamcast, as Eddie T, was thriving with amazing games. Yeah, but it wasn't selling, though. In fact, Full Spectrum Warrior, that's what it was. In fact, I'll read you a letter coming up that'll let you see just what we're talking about, because the gamers were not happy. It'll be coming up in a little bit, but it's one guy writing in very upset with Sega. Because he's like, you know, fuck you guys, man. I supported you guys, and now, you know, you want... Oh, here it is right here. I'm an idiot. Hell hath no fury like a gamer scorned. This letter is a reference to your Pro News article, The Dream is Over. Disgust doesn't even come close to describing my feelings towards Sega. Once again, the loser of the gaming industry fails, and fails spectacularly. From the Genesis to the Saturn to the Dreamcast, Sega has demonstrated to all faithful Sega owners that not only can it run itself into the ground with great success, but that it also expects us to buy more to cut its losses. Well, it's laughable by this point that Sega President Peter Moore believes the release of over 100 new games will appease Dreamcast owners. That's pretty good, 100 new games. And they had a hell of a booth at E3 that year. I implore all Dreamcast owners not to buy another Sega product. Don't worry, buddy. You're about to get your wish. Sega dies with the Dreamcast. Smart guy. Paul GamePro said, you're right. One of the several gamers who feel that Sega has run out of second chances. Bad judgment and costly mistakes, especially in hardware, they say, have earned Sega a bad reputation. Sometimes warranted, sometimes not. But slamming the Genesis, Paul, this is them. Come on, that was a fine system with plenty of support from both first and third party. Granted, the 16-bit heyday ended about 6 years ago, but you got to give credit where credit's due. And you forgot the 32X. Baby, everybody forgot the 32X. What, you going to throw in the Sega CD next? Come on, GamePro. You can't go ripping on Sega without mentioning the 32X. It's a law. All right, let's move on. 100 new games, says Fink, J.R. Fink. Try 5 a year. I mean, again, I will never forget it, man. I'm sitting up there at the second story of the Sony booth. I'm sitting there with Timmy Schafer. Timmy Schafer is actually pitching me what was the game he did before the Jack Black game? Psychonauts. Because I'm telling him I had a game about going in somebody's head too. And I was like, oh, I think it's great. And, we talked about it and all this stuff. He wasn't pitching me personally. He was like, hey, do you think Sony would be interested in this? But across the way, we could both see the Dreamcast booth. And it was fucking exploding. It looked amazing. The games over there were great. The graphics were great. They were a year ahead of PS2, so they had a year to get their shit together. The problem is they were arcade games for the most part. And that was the first big lesson I got, that just because something shows great at a trade show doesn't mean that it's going to be, it's going to translate into sales for home. They had a wonderful, almost arcade perfect version of Crazy Taxi, but nobody wanted to buy Crazy Taxi for home for $40, $50. I mean, some people did, but you get bored of it pretty quick. Look at this, man. Now, I always thought this was going to catch on a lot better. Virtua Fighter franchise, I think, wasn't that a Dreamcast? I mean, a Saturn game? Listen, I always thought this idea of putting your own face into video games and shooting you and your friends and shit was going to be like the next big thing. And there were a number of companies that kind of tried to build this technology and sell it. And here's one they're reporting on. 3Q's incredible facial scanning tech enables gamers to get in ahead in online games, their own. And you could put your face in Quake 3, Unreal Tournament, and Half-Life. And they had more games coming. But it just never caught on, which I guess, I mean, even now where you don't even need any fancy schmancy hardware, it's easy to do. Nobody really wants to fucking do that, man. So I don't know. I don't have to tell you about that, but I thought it was cool though. It was cool. I remember seeing, the first time I saw this was maybe, somebody did a GoldenEye, test of this, which was pretty cool. But anyway, okay, here we go. November, Xbox announced November 8th they were dropping the Xbox One for $299. Here's what they were going to launch with. Listen to this. The announcement came casually near the beginning of E3. Robbie Bach said, we're going to let the games do the talking. Demonstrations were offered of several titles, including Munch's Odyssey, Halo, Mad Dash Racing, Pirates of Skull Cove, and Dead or Alive 3. Announcements were made for Dino Crisis 3, Bruce Lee Quest of the Dragon, and a game based on the movie Shrek, all of which will be exclusive to the platform. They plan to have between 600,000 and 800,000 available at the end of 2001. GameCube, $199. Come on now. I remember C-Man. That was great. Eddie T says that's a great launch lineup. Listen, me and the Sony Santa Monica folks went down to the Santa Monica Pier where they had made a big tent and you could go in like a month before the thing shipped. And you could basically play all their games. And we were terrified because we're like, is this going to kill us? Again, it was always there's a lot of fear working in a company like that for me. Because so much of your future was really out of your hands. You couldn't steer your own ship. But I left that tent feeling, sexually satisfied, of course. There was a hobo who lived under the pier and he had drilled a hole. And, even though that's not how I swing, any port in a am I right? And then, GameCube, November 5th. I didn't realize it was so cheap, $199. But listen to this though, and you'll see in a second. You'll see their launch lineup. But they announced 15 exclusive games. Super Smash Bros. Now educate me here. I don't remember. Was there ever a Smash Bros. On the SNES, or was this the very first, or the N64? I mean, like, was this the very first time we got Smash Bros. Melee? I know it was Melee, but there was a Smash Bros. On the N64, right? Anyway, Super Smash Bros. Melee, Luigi's Mansion, Metroid Prime, Pikmin. But they actually launched with a lot more of that. But that was the thing they kind of got hit on, was that this is, you don't have any third party, which was their big kind of complaint people made. Okay. Here was all Sony. Thanks, Sony. I mean, seriously. You can put a keyboard in an external hard drive and you can get your email. What are you people doing? Idiots. Would you like to know the best-selling video game titles of April 2001? This is August, but, you know, they run about 3 months behind, I suppose. Here they were. Here's what you got. Number 10, The Sims Living Large. Number 9, Onimusha Warlords on PS2. Makes sense. Great game. Look at all the Game Boy Color shit and the PC shit. Only one PlayStation game. Only one console game, which is Onimusha. Kirby's Tilt and Tumble, Game Boy Color. Number 8, 102 Dalmatians Activity Center. It's Bukaki Drive-By's favorite game to this day. Number 7. Number 5 and 6, Pokemon Silver Gold. Number 4, The Sims. 3, Black and White. 3, Sims House Party. And number 1, Pokemon Stadium 2. Okay, well, N64 had the number 1 game. There you go. You bought the GameCube for the Resident Evil remakes golf franchise. Let me tell you something. Educate me on, if you don't mind, on Resident Evil 0 is what? Because I saw that is on sale right now for like $2 on the Sony summer sale. And I'm like, should I buy that? Or is that's not the HD version of RE1. What is 0 the one on the train? I gotta look into this. I don't know. Roswell Conspiracies, Aliens, Myths, and Legends. Come on now. That sounds so cool. Probably wasn't a very good game because no one's ever heard of it since. Was it a TV series or something? It looks like it was based on some kind of cartoon or something. But let's go. Roswell-conspiracies.com. I wonder if that was an original IP. I want to go look that up real fast. I know it's old school R, but was it old school Resident Evil? Like, was it a remake or what? Or is it a new story? Roswell. Am I spelling conspiracies right? There is no. I didn't even spell it right, idiot. Conspiracies.com. Okay, well, that's not happening. Come on. Let's just see what happens if I go into Raw. This has to be a terrible game. Okay, so it was a TV series. I gotcha. Okay. 0 is a sequel. 0 is on the train with Rebecca Chambers and that Billy guy. Okay, gotcha. Okay, I should look into that. I should pick that up. What else we got here, boys? Let's go big. Go big or go home. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Look at this. We got ourselves a little cartoon down here with your boy Sweet Tooth in it. He says, all the GamePro offices, somebody's playing music. And this dude says, is that what I think it is? And Major Mike's like, Ice Cream Man. And they're both like fucking idiots. And they run out. Yay, all we care about is sugar. And they're running out. And then this guy is like, I'd like an ice cream cone, please. And then Sweet Tooth comes out with eyeballs on the ice cream cones. And he's like, sprinkles. And they're all scared and shit. And it's like, oh my God, eyeballs. Anyway, that's the cartoon in the show. Any new TV shows I recommend? The last season of Umbrella Academy is about to come out. But I don't know. I have to think about it. My mind's somewhere else right now, baby. Come on now. But I'll answer your question. I'm sure I got some good answers. I just don't have any right now. Look at this guy. Looks like he's taking a shit. It's kind of like Cory Barlog a little bit. He's like, look, Ma, at last, the world you control. Life's tough out there. I got my games to keep me warm. Says Alex, Walmart customer. What an idiot. Fuck him. SSX Tricky. Educate me again, if you don't mind. SSX came out first, and then SSX Tricky was the next year, because Tricky was the one that really has gone down as the one that is really the best one, right? It's been a long time since I played this. I remember really liking it. And it was the first game that I saw that was the first game that I saw where you did the tricks and it fed into your turbo meter, if I remember correctly. And I thought that was pretty fucking cool. EA Sports Big returns to carve up the competition with Tricky. It is the second one. Can the PS2 snowboard sensation expand to Xbox and GameCube and still remain king of the mountain? In many ways, says the article by Dan. We just talked to Dan. He was in the chat. Dan Electro. SSX helped define what PS2 gaming was about. Combined Sony's reliance on its third-party companies during the machine's launch with the debut of EA Sports big label, and bitch, you're going to see an awful lot riding on that old snowboard. Oh, yeah. Now, the SSX is Kickstarter platform. Anyway, whatever. SSX Tricky. Fuck you. Yeah, I like Darth Nugget says, what kind of Nazi snowboarding shit is this? Yeah, he looks like he's ready to, get a tiki torch and race down the mountain. I'll tell you something, though. I just want to be clear, and there may very well be a lesson in here somewhere for developers. Because you guys know, again, as I always tell you, remind you, by my actions and my words, I'm the most progressive guy that you know. I like diversity and all that stuff, but I agree sometimes companies can push it so far it stops feeling organic. And it just feels like, what the fuck is happening, right? Here's a game where you got a cute lady, right? You got a very, I assume he's whitish. Well, hell, Darth Nugget says he's in the fucking Nazi party. But you also had like some black dudes. You had this big fat guy. And it didn't feel like it was trying to be, nobody was like, that fucking game is forced diversity, right? They were just like, no, you got an Asian lady. She's kind of fun. You got a fat dude, a black guy, a white guy. Why was this different? Why did this get a pass and gamers didn't complain? But now they complain. This is what I don't understand. I'm curious. Bukaki says this was woke bullshit too. But I didn't hear you complaining, bitch. Yeah, I got him. Jaffe, you don't think Cape Crusader went woke? No. I mean, I'm only on episode 3, but I don't know which. Here's how I know it hasn't gone woke yet on episode 3. Because you've got a Detective Montoya is usually a woman, but she's usually not a black woman and a fat black woman, right? She is in the new series. Which I assume people would say, it's woke, like you're saying. But I'm kind of like, well, Batman has to show up and save all the women in the first 2 episodes. I don't know what you want. So no, I don't think it's gone woke. But I haven't seen the whole thing. Prince Green says because politics makes its way into video games. They always did. They always were political. I mean, I mean, every action is a response to the world in which you create. So that's what I mean. Okay. They hate when they are told to, they hate what they are told to hate, says Feast by the internet. If internet wasn't down bad, no one would complain. I think there's some truth to that. Even though I will say I hate the Concord characters. I think they're terrible. Okay. Let's move on. So you want to be a game tester? Nope. Been there, done that. I think everybody fucking knows. It's hard. And, first in or first to go, right? Not back in the day. This is how I got into the industry. But now, no, Put it to the test. This is an ad, but I figure why not? Be honest. You already know the right answers. Find out why smoking's not for you, no matter who you are. All right, let's take the test. If they canceled school for a day, what would you do? Read your favorite book, play sports, help around the house, go out with your friends. I'd read my favorite book. What's your favorite music? Alt, rock, electronic, pop, world music, rap and hip hop, love song, ballads. Pop. If you could make your dreams come true, you'd be the world champ of your favorite sport, be voted most popular, work at a space center, get a date with the cutest girl guy in class. D. For a party you put on, something original and wild, meaning this is what you'd wear, even if it doesn't look that great. B, the latest fashions. C, something classic. D, something like what your friends are going to wear. Apathy. I would wear apathy, but for now, let's just say A. Your favorite kind of movie is romance, comedy, action, adventure, horror. D, horror. Okay, so how do I get the points? Okay, so A is 1. I got 1 point so far. You can play at home alone if you want. Your favorite music is C. I got 3 points. You make your dreams come true. I'd go out with Trisha. D. That's 5 points. 4. I guess I'd go with C, so 4 points, but 5 points, and then 5 is D, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. You're sensitive and responsible. You know what you want and you have drive. You goddamn right, Ad. Why blow it with the cigarette? Smoking's not going to help you get anywhere you want to go. Not true, you stupid son of a bitch. If you're smoking pot, it will. If you're smoking pot, kids, it'll open up your third eye. It'll allow you to recognize the fact that the world in which you live is only perceived, you're perceiving a small aspect of it. Now, do you want to get hooked on the drugs? Of course not. Do you want to ruin your life? Of course not. Do you want to ruin your lungs? Of course not. But do you want to allow yourself what the government and what the religions of the world have been trying to block from you and from your brain pan since time immemorial? You goddamn right. You need to recognize that this world we see is only a... Don't you fucking talk to me, Alexa. Is only a small part of what's really out there. And with a little bit of a doobie, a little bit of a drug that makes you feel good with people you like, you all can go tripping together and enjoy the fact that what we see is not necessarily all there is. And with that, I bid you adieu. Okay, let's move forward. Here were the showstoppers at E3. Okay. Luigi's Mansion, the first one. Bum, 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 bum. Remember that song? Bum, 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 bum. I never really liked the first or second Luigi's Mansion. I didn't really fall in love with the series until they started making the more adventure-y ones, like what was like the Moon one and the other one. Those I really liked. But they said that was a great showstopper from E3. Star Wars Rogue Leader Rogue Squadron 2, Factor 5, the creators of Lair, was there. That was a great series, though, the Rogue Squadron games. Now, here, let's talk about Pikmin briefly. I played Pikmin there. I absolutely didn't give a fuck. I was annoyed by it. It seemed really, really boring. But I played the demo of Pikmin 4, and I was like, oh my God, this is not what I thought it was. This is actually really, really good. And I'm so busy with so many games and so much other shit going on. I can't imagine I'll ever get back to Pikmin 4. But it's actually a lot better than I thought it was. I just thought it was this like annoying little RTS game, but it's quite fun and clever. Super Smash Bros. Melee. Let's say you're Nintendo, writes Stardingo. I think that's his name. You're about to launch a new cutting-edge game system, but some upstart son of a bitch named Microsoft stealing your thunder by launching one of its own. So you're waving your hands in the air and screaming, look over here, we're back, we rule. Well, if words aren't effective, you probably prove it with a game that takes characters from every fucking one of your most popular franchises and hurls them into one huge, ridiculous 4-player brawl. And baby, Super Smash Bros. Melee is that brawl, or a game. See Mario, says the GameCube. See Pikachu, Samus, Eskimo weirdos from the Ice Climber. Can you say Eskimos anymore? Have you got your fill of Kirby, Yoshi, Star Fox, and Link? Baby, you ain't getting them anywhere else. The original version of Smash Bros. For N64, one of the system's best multiplayer games, and Melee doesn't mess with the formula, except by adding over a dozen new battlegrounds and tons of new characters, 30 new items, a single-player quest, and a 64-player tournament mode. Holy cow. Oh yeah. The game also comes with an exponential increase in graphic punch, courtesy of the GameCube. Yeah. Metroid Prime, stupid game. I haven't played it. Eternal Darkness, I really would love to go back and finish that game. Maybe I would. I would. I don't know. I didn't finish it, but I really liked what I played. Obviously, that was Dennis Diak's big moment in the sun. Star Fox Adventures Dinosaur Planet. Here's what I'll tell you about that game. I'm hearing a phone. I have a phone somewhere. Here's what I'll tell you about that game. It wasn't good. Remember, this started out as something else. Didn't this start out as some kind of other... It was started out as like N64 Dinosaur Planet or some such nonsense. And they let's throw Star Fox. I don't... It was... At this point, Rare was kind of overstaying its welcome with all these fucking open world collectathons. And it was like, it's enough. Enough. These were the E3 showstoppers for Xbox. Dead or Alive 3. Ugh. Cell Damage. No thank you. Vehicle Combat. Pfft. Halo. Let's read what they said about Halo. I'm curious. Jet Set Radio Future. Okay, here's what they said about Halo. Halo has been generating buzz since its genesis as a PC game. So listen, man, it had a lot of hype to live up to at this year's E3. Now, while it didn't leave the show attendees agape with wonder, that's what I'm saying. You never know just because on the show floor. It's not the right way to assess a game. Halo certainly proved it's firmly on track to become an awesome sci-fi shooter. Halo's lush sci-fi setting transports you to a ring-shaped world where humans battle aliens known as the Covenant for control of the world's secrets as well as the world's population and control. I was going somewhere with it. I can't make it work. Although Microsoft staged these screenshots to show eye candy rather than gameplay. I love that's eye candy. Halo's visuals were dazzling, even though you'll rarely view the action from the perspective shown here. Better yet, the gameplay looked promising, combining first-person combat with vehicular mayhem. Listen, you'll fight alongside a squad of Marines whose slick AI makes them effective partners, and then you'll clamber into a Jeep with a mounted machine gun to wreak further havoc. Strong multiplayer action will include co-op play in the single-player missions and death matches via split-screener LAN. If the rest of Halo plays as well as it did at E3, it's destined to be one of Xbox's stars. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? I remember playing it at first. I was like, yeah, it's okay. It didn't vibe with me right away. This was the age of car combat, though. If everybody's like, what happened to car combat? People were trying. You had cell damage here. You had a new Twisted Metal Blackout. You had Blood Wake. Listen to this. The PlayStation may have Twisted Metal, but Xbox is preparing its own brand of vehicle combat with Blood Wake, a game that has boats blowing holes in each other across large bodies of water. With a selection of up to 10 boat types, you'll take to the high seas for 25 one-player missions or do battle up against 4 other players. Of course, you can't have combat without weapons, so it has those too. All right. I never really got into Blood Wake. Look at this, Devil May Cry. The first time we saw Devil May Cry was at this E3. Between this and Eco, that was in Onimusha. The seeds were being planted for God of War 1. You know what I'm saying? What's happening with this lady here? Final Fantasy X. Looks like she's bent over and somebody's stupping her from behind. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. You realize when I was very young, I'd go into Spencer's Gifts with my friends, and there was this book. Spencer's, if you don't know, in America, it's this like novelty shop, and they had like a X-rated 18 plus section. And there was this cartoon book, and I was like 7th grade. So I knew about vaginas, of course. I hadn't seen a real one yet, but I knew about them. And I thought I knew where they were on the woman, and I did. But in this book, every time it was a cartoon book about a woman who would bend over, and this dude would always come up behind her. And I was like, why is he always just fucking people in the butthole? What the fuck is happening? It's just like an anal sex book. And my friend was like, well, no, you can have sex with the lady when she's bent over. I'm like, it folds that way? And he's like, yeah, where do you think it is? And I'm like, well, in the movies, they're on top of each other. So I assumed it was like on the front of her. He's like, no, it's in between, but it's kind of in the front. So if you bend over, you have that. It doesn't matter. The point is, look at Yuma from Final Fantasy X. State of Emergency. Everybody was raving about State of Emergency, saying, oh my God, look at all the people on screen. And that was cool. Until you realize very quickly that there wasn't much to do in the game. Okay. Oh no. Our Rink says, when I was 6, I found Hustler under my pawpaw's sink. Oh, there's so many things wrong with that sentence, sir. Silent Hill 2 was just coming out. Metal Gear 2 was just coming out. Maximo was just coming out. Look at that. Silent Hill 2 and Metal Gear the same year at E3. Now, I remember everybody was raving over both of them, but I didn't know that these were destined to become these massive fucking classics, man. Dale, I agree. He says, Jaffe, I'm loving all the read-throughs. I miss when you found out about a new game from a magazine. Oh, I know. I read that as Rink. Isn't that his name? J.R. Fink, like Rat Fink, the what's the guy's name? He did the cars and the whatever. Shut up. Sledstorm 2. That was cool. We were always like, why didn't we think of that? Now look at this, my friends. Look at this. GTA 3, says Fink. Shut up, Bukaki. You're going to hell. Look at this. Look at this, man. Nobody knew. I don't even remember this being at E3. Like, I really don't. Nobody was talking about it. Maybe you had to go, like, it was behind closed doors or some such nonsense. The infamous GTA series that glorifies the unlawful is back, this time in full 3D. You'll work your way up organized crime hierarchy by performing a variety of criminal activities in over 80 missions. Of course, you'll need to jack anything that rolls to accomplish your goals, but with over 50 different vehicles to steal, you won't be bored. The weather and time of day affects the city too, and you'll interact with various characters to complete your objectives. That's it. That's it. Nobody had any sense that this was going to be seismic. And yet, my friends, it was indeed seismic. That's something. Isn't that amazing? Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, Smuggler's Run 2. When is Contraband coming out? What's going on with that? Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, which now when you think about Baldur's Gate with all their D&D obsession with the new rules or the old rules, and being a hardcore D&D experience, this was just like a fucking gauntlet game now that I remember it. Okay. GamePro review is only a third of a page. I don't think so. I think you're thinking of EGM that had like 3 different reviews on a page. I could be wrong though. PC had, oh my God, Medal of Honor Allied Assault. You guys just don't know if you guys just weren't there. If you listen, the whole fucking town, the whole fucking group of people making games, everybody was like, holy shit, they did it. They made Saving Private Ryan. And this is what it looked like. But you know, you had to run it on the highest end fucking PC in your goddamn fucking life. And this is what it looked like. And it was like, oh my fucking God. Oh my fucking God. How did they do it? Right? Insane. But then here's Return to Castle Wolfenstein. But you know, it was linear, but it was a great game. Great game. Was Frontline, what was the one that did that mission for the first time? Medal of Honor was before Call of Duty. Well, Medal of Honor was the Call of Duty team, right? The Medal of Honor guys, I'm trying to remember how it worked, but there was some kind of story about that where the Medal of Honor guys got fucked over and went and made Infinity or something like that. Infinity Ward. Unreal 2 was out there. Soldier Fortune 2, Age of Mythology. We're about to get a remaster next month of that on the Game Pass there. What do we got here? Freelancer, Dungeon Siege, Neverwinter Nights, whatever. Let me tell you something about Shannon Studstill, who produced God of War and ran Sony Santa Monica. There was somebody at the studio when she was managing it, and this individual, who will go unnamed, ate corn nuts all the time. And finally, and I didn't sit next to this human, so it never bothered me, but finally people started complaining that the whole area was smelling up a stinky garlic corn nuts. And she had to call this person into her office and say, dude, you got to stop with the corn nuts, man. Not as bad as the fact that there was one guy who was so big. I've told this story, but and I'm not fat shaming. I'm a fat guy, but this guy was so big that he couldn't wipe his butt well. And so he'd come out of the bathroom and he'd be smelling like fecal paste. And she had to sit that motherfucker down and talk. I mean, how do you do that without losing your goddamn mind? Oh, thanks, Fred, for coming in. Yeah, what'd you want to talk about, Shannon? Well, Fred, you smell like shit. I mean, was the job. That was part of the job. It's part of the job. That's why Sony will always be better than Xbox. They can't do it. Phil Spencer can't find the balls to sit down an employee and say, Matt Booty, you gots to wash the booty. He won't do it. And thus, you get delays on Avowed. Call them what you want. Call it a delay to help you clear out your backlog. But no. It's because Matt Booty's butt smells. Then they had some Game Boy Advance stuff. Banjo-Kazooie, Diddy Kong, whatever. Who cares? Who cares? Spyro Season of Ice. These probably all made more money than any of the games in profit you saw in the previous. But that said, though, Eddie T says, in today's politically correct world, that guy would have gotten his own executive office. Maybe. Possibly. Okay. PlayStation Prognosis. Look at that, man. You got yourself Siphon Filter 3. John Garvin and I had a really interesting conversation on this because he was telling me, and you can find it on the War Story section of the members only channel of this, whatever this is. But he was telling me that it wasn't until Siphon Filter 3 that they actually had time to really sit and write a story. The first two were just, he was laying in set piece after set piece that they thought would be cool, and they kind of hung a story around it. But he was saying with 3, they finally got to sit down and actually start writing the character and all this stuff. It was really interesting. It was a really interesting conversation. I recommend it. Jaffe says, Bull, did they delay it because they have other games they want to release? The official word, which does make sense, if what they're saying is true, and I hope it is, it's a really good problem to have, which is they're like, look, we've got Call of Duty, the new one, which you can play the beta this month if you have Game Pass or you pre-order it, or pre-order the right thing. I'm not sure which one, so make sure you look it up first. They've got that. They've got Stalker 2, which seems to be shaping up by a lot of people who've played it. They have Indiana Jones. They have Microsoft Flight Sim, if that's your cup of tea. They still have Towerborn. There's one other big one I'm forgetting. And they're saying, and I made the video yesterday where one of the things I was talking about was this, and I was saying, I think, to me, I would push Stalker maybe, but they seem to, if what they're saying is true and they're not delaying it because they need more time, they're delaying it to February 18th because they want you to be able to, they want to have some cadence to their releases, which is very smart. If that's the real reason, I think it's great. But that's what they're saying. Mocap boxing. Oh, this is the arcades, man. Arcade days. Tekken 4. Anachronox. I haven't played this one. This is from Ion Storm. This was like when they put out Romero's game, Daikatana. They put out Warren Spector's game and Harvey's game, Deus Ex. And then this was the third of the Holy Trinity that they launched with that they made from Ion Storm in Dallas. Heard it was pretty good. Never played it. Commandos 2. Love the Commandos game. There's a new one coming. Game Pass Day 1. Looking forward to it. Commandos kind of like spiritual, not successor, but spiritual DNA creator. What? To like, Desperados 3, which is amazing. And, the pirate one. You know what pisses me off about the whole Sweet Baby thing, by the way? These people didn't even play anything. That Team Me, which shut down, who made some of the best tactical strategy action games ever, with Desperados 3, and I think it was whatever the samurai one was, and then Shadowheart. I think it was Shadowheart, the one with the pirates and supernatural effects. They were just like, you Sweet Baby. Let's put them on a list so people don't buy it. And I'm like, you know what? Shut up, you idiot. It's a great fucking game. Are you a gamer or you're a fucking little political whiny bitch? You don't have to fucking support everything, but Jesus Christ, think for yourself. I'm not going to buy it because it's on a list. It's like burning books. Open your fucking mind, you idiot. It's a great fucking game. What is that thing called? You might know what the name of that game is. I'm at least going to fucking show it to you. It's called teensentral.net. What's it called? Team Me. Is it Shadow? I don't know. What the fuck is that thing called? I want to look it up real quick. Games. Yeah, they went out of business. Yeah, Shadow Gambit. Boy, this game is great. So fucking good. Stealth strategy game. Really good stuff, man. Highly recommend. It's on one of those Sweet Baby lists. Like, don't buy it because Sweet Baby worked on it. Yeah, they also worked on Shadow Tactics, Desperados 3, and Shadow Gambit. All of these are great games. And none of them, let's put it this way. Desperados is the game that literally has a woman in it who is using her sexuality to motivate other men to be so enamored by them that she can lead them onto train tracks where they walk in front of a moving train and they die. Desperados 3 is the game where there's a lot of substance and it's a smart fucking game when it comes to everything, including its fucking narrative. As is Shadow Gambit. Just pisses me off. Why did you turn into Jiminy Glick? That's funny. Matthew and Modine. Jiminy Glick's a funny dude, man. He's real, Sigma. Oh, come on now. The Adventures of Rex Chance. You gotta be kidding me. Torn, Stronghold, Beam Breakers, Buffy. The fuck are these games? Never heard of these fucking things. Zelda Oracle of Seasons, Zelda Oracle of Ages. These were the Capcom ones. These were great. Great fucking Zelda games. Loved them. Okay. Bomberman Tournament, Crazy Racers. This is just a bunch of shit. Game Boy Advance, whatever. I was busy. I wasn't playing. I mean, these were huge money makers, man. I'm not shitting on them. This is what a lot of people had. Here you go, a sneak preview. Backing Naughty Dog and its Crash Bandicoot series was one of the best moves Sony ever made, says Brother Buzz. Now they're back with Jak and Daxter. As with Crash, Naughty Dog focuses all its creative energies on this game with no current plans for another game, ostensibly for the life of the PS2 platform. Not much has changed. Hey, Jay Styles. Jay Styles, let's see if we actually get a... I tried to fix the pop-ups today. Let's see what happens. I play games all the fucking time, bitch. Don't tell me that. That's a Rathizzle saying, y'all don't play games anymore. I know you're fucking around. I play games constantly, man. I've been playing games all day long. Okay, well, it should be popping, Jay, but it's not. So I will just say, Jay Styles, buddy, thank you so much for joining the Diet Soda Soldiers. Welcome back. It's always good to have you here, to the point that I'm going to write a song about you, Jay. Jay Styles has been away for a while, but he rolled up today and said, may I play? Want to bite an octopus? Yeah. All right. What happened to Pete Turtle? Let me tell you something about Pete Turtle. I don't know what happened to him. Okay. But you know, all I'll tell you is somebody on the Discord the other night put up, thank you, Jay. Somebody on the Discord put up some of Pete Turtle's quotes, or tweets. And one of them was he says his actual tweet was, I'm actually a fat guy and my daughter. So apparently, according to one of Pete Turtle's tweets, he is a fat guy and he has a daughter. So, and people were like, see, Jaffe, we told you he was a character. I'm like, maybe he is, but it wasn't one that I paid at all. He just showed up and I don't know the true Pete Turtle. I don't fucking know. What do we got here? Let's go to their reviews. James Bond 007, Agent Under Fire. I don't even remember that. All right. You know what their number one review was this time? Oh, Silent Scope 2, baby. Come on now. I remember Silent Scope 2. You think it's his daughter is probably his girlfriend. That's terrible. I remember when we were working on Twisted Metal Black, we had a food court we would always go to, and there was an arcade by it, and they had the first Silent Scope, and that was the coolest experience, man, because it had the actual gun and shit, man. It was awesome. So fucking cool, that game. Really, really immersive game. All right. Hey, Eddie T's been a member for 45 months. Let's give him a read. He says, Jaffe, I will never understand why Sony didn't buy Crash Bandicoot from Universal. He was the face of PlayStation, and the series went to trash until Toys for Bob. I mean, I have to assume they tried to, maybe. I mean, first off, thank you, Eddie. You know, I appreciate you being here and supporting the show all these years. Well, it's been over 3 years. Thank you, bud. But I could not, I don't know. I do not know why. If it was an option or it was just never on the table. Maybe they tried 20 times. I don't know. But it seems like they would have. Yeah, look at this. Half-Life. Oh, well, this was already out. Yeah, this was it says the classic PC game is coming to PS2, right? Okay. Kinetica. In the futuristic racer, humans have engineered kinetic skins, advanced exoskeleton. This is only because the artist wanted to draw ass all day long, that have been fused with humans and which enable racers to gain excessive speeds and incredible agility. You'll go ballistic on high G vertical climbs and perform insane stunts on 12 death-defying tracks set in 6 different environments. Additionally, the game's courses will have multiple line corners. I don't care. I worked on this for about 6 months. Let's read some reviews, shall we? Boom! Twisted Metal Black, graphics 5. Wonder why you bought a PS2? Wonder no more. Peep these explosions, car models, and incredibly interactive environments. The world is dark, but the action within looks incredibly bright. So Twisted Metal, so does Twisted Metal's future as a franchise. Little did you know, you son of a bitch. Sound, total package. A little 9 Inch Nails inspired industrial music, a bit of horror movie orchestral stuff, and some good old standbys like booming explosions and human screams of terror. Control 4.5, fuck you. Fun factor, 4.5. The Prodigal Psycho returns with TM's darkest and arguably most impressive chapter yet. Incredible speed, varied multiplayer modes, challenging AI put TM back on top of the heap. You goddamn right. You goddamn right. But what I will always say is I think Twisted Metal 2 was a better game, but this did a much better job with world building. This is a much better like environment world. Klonoa 2. Fun factor, 5. Fuck you. It's more fun than that. Fuck you. I love Klonoa, though. Klonoa 2 is a prime lesson in simple yet addictive gameplay with awe-inspiring visuals. Let me tell you something. With Twisted Metal, I remember we showed this game to the press for the very first time. And the very next day, me and... I'm trying to think. Well, we'd already done our honeymoon, so this was just our second vacation. Me and my wife went to Hawaii. And I would get up, because, you know, Hawaii was an hour ahead or behind. I would get up every morning and just race to read the news because we had unveiled this to the press. And I was just so obsessed because the press loved it so much when they first saw it. And I was just like, oh my God, this is so exciting. I was so thrilled that the audience seemed to like it and get it. It just made me so fucking happy. And my wife at the time was like, dude, could you not just keep hitting refresh and let's go scuba diving? I'm like, okay. Okay. Yeah, the stories are great, Charles Day. I've been trying to get one of the main writers on to talk about them, but I think, you know, he remembers that as a really bad experience, I believe. I think I was really surprised when I talked to him recently and said, do you want to come on? And he started kind of dredging up all this stuff. And I was just like, dude, I don't even think about it. You know, he was a huge factor in why those stories were great. But, you know, it's business and, you know, he wanted to do stuff and it became too difficult to manage it all. So we got someone else in to wrap it up. And obviously that stuck with him, which was not the intent. I mean, I worked with him again. I hired him again, but Bloody Roar, which is like animals fighting and shit. 4 fun factor. Monkey Island, 5 fun factor. Who's this person on the skateboard? Obey Your Thirst. Okay. Alone in the Dark, 4.5. Dave Mira, 4. Crazy Taxi, fun factor 3.5. As a sequel, they say it falls short of the original. The new additions to the engine sound cool in theory, but in practice stall the fun. In this case, more is less. What did they add to it? They add an awkward hop maneuver that's frustrating to master and permanently anchored on the Y button, but you have to use it to rack up high earnings and successfully pass the crazy pyramid minigames. Other strengths of the first game are diminished, especially the awesome cities in which to do business. Here, the mean streets don't offer as much challenge and become tiresome after a few drive-thrus. Even the new carpool feature, which has you collecting several passengers to deliver at different locations, needs tuning, as it wreaks havoc with the guiding arrow at the top of the screen by making it try to point to several directions at once. I have not played 7 Days to Die. I saw the reviews. People are hyped about it, but the reviews have been kind of like, eh. So I was just kind of like, no thanks. So I'll wait. Wait and see if they fix it. Outrigger isn't terrible. 3 fun factor. Mediocre, bland. You pick up health. The single player game is boring. Is this, I think it's just like a arena shooter. Okay. NBA Street, which came out the same day as Black, which always pissed me off. They got a 5 fun factor. They outsold the shit out of us. We didn't sell, Twist Black wasn't that big of a seller, truth be told. Sports, fuck you fucking idiots. Dark Cloud, fun factor 3.5. No surprise. A lot of nostalgia around that one, but not a great game. Kingdom Hearts, first look. One of the first big surprises this year's E3 was a joint venture of Square and Disney. Kingdom Hearts. Gamers will immediately recognize characters designed in Square style and be totally confused why a game with all these beloved Disney characters will try to shove these totally dumb, stupid original characters down our fucking throats. But they will, and a bunch of fucking weebs will lose their shit over it, even though it's actually not a very good IP. The historic cooperative project will also mark the first time characters from multiple Disney classics appear in a single game. Ephemeral Fantasia. Clearly, whoever named that at Konami went to work at Square. Some tricks, if you want some tricks, whatever. Look at that. Mad Magazine. I loved Mad Magazine, man. I loved the magazines, baby. If your parents think playing video games is a waste of time, wait till they see you reading Mad. I love Mad Magazine so fucking much. Rumble Racing. I think that was from EA, right? Rumble Racing was a very fun arcadey racing game. If you don't remember, there's just some tips and tricks and go fuck yourselves. GamePro. Here we go. Oh, here we go. Look at this. August 2001. Now we're getting to it. Some updates here. The number 10 PlayStation games. There's a naked girl character. Where? Where? Wait, what am I looking at? Chasing Amy had a video game? Whipping the Body? Is that the one where you go inside the body? I've always looked for that game. I saw it at E3 one year. I can never find it. Yeah, it was a Chasing Amy game. At the main menu, select color bars, and instead of a test pattern, you will see an intro by Kevin Smith, Ben Affleck, Jason Mewes, and Scott Mosier. Do you know, I met Scott Mosier for lunch, and I tried to convince him to come start Bartlett Jones with me before... Was it Bartlett Jones? Maybe it was Eat, Sleep, Play. I don't know. It's probably Bartlett Jones. Before I, met Nick and everything. Oh, it's the DVD menu. Oh, it's for the place. Okay, it's for the player. Okay, gotcha. Okay. Top 10 PlayStation games. Number 10, Win Back Convert Operations. 4x4 Evolution, number 9. Number 8, Ricky Carmichael, 2002. The Bouncer was number 7. Onimusha Warlord, 6. Dark Cloud, 5. Gauntlet Dark Legacy, 4. And Gauntlet Dark Legacy was worked on by a number of the guys who eventually came to work on God of War. I think Stig worked on that, actually. Red Faction 3, Twisted Metal Black is number 2. You goddamn right. Number 1, Grand Theft Auto. No, Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec. All right, there you go, baby. There you go, baby. Been brought to us by Retro Mags, made with love. The Bouncer was overrated. You goddamn right it was overrated. It's a terribly dull game. All right, my friends, listen. It is 6:40 here in San Diego. And I think we're going to wrap that shit up because I learned from Dan, thank you, Dan, that I got a copy of Volgar 2 waiting for me. And good to see you, Necro. Thanks for hanging out with us, buddy. And so I may come back on tonight and stream either Volgar 2 or I may come back on tonight and stream Ready or Not, which I've been enjoying playing. So, but if you can't get enough of your Papa Jaffe, and I don't blame you, there's like an over 2-hour Gabbing Games that went up yesterday. It's pre-recorded, but it's got some really cool stuff in there. Give that a look. But in the meantime, fellas, thank you so much. I really appreciate you spending some time with me, going down memory lane. New members, welcome. Old members, thank you. People considering a membership, it's good stuff. It'll make the ladies, I don't really know what they'll do, but they'll say, hey, and that'll happen. And then it's fun. Subscribe, like, tell your friends about it. All that. What? Oh, I'm not high. Seriously, no joke though, folks. Check out the, I've been playing Ready or Not, Lando. Check out the Sony PlayStation Summer Sale. It ends in 10 days. And it's some really fucking good deals if your backlog. Thank you, Bukaki. I love you back. It's a really fucking good deal if your backlog's not too full. Because, I mean, the last thing you need is more games just sitting in your digital shelf. But if you're looking for some stuff, I haven't seen some game deals this good since the old days of the Steam Summer Sale. Pretty fucking good. Anyway, be well, be safe. Thank you guys. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, RE4 is on there, but I don't know how much the new one is. I would get the new one. I would not get the one from 2005 unless you're just getting it for a, like a collecting thing. But Village is on there for under $5, and that thing is fucking the crackerjack, baby. Concord is on sale, not yet. All right, I will see you guys soon. I'll be back soon. Meantime, be safe out there. It is nuts, and be well. Bye, you guys.